I think this is important too, because so many people who aspire to be leaders or are leaders and question themselves and think I don't have this or I don't have that. I think I'll prove you wrong when you hear my story. But I was a bouncer in a teen nightclub and a janitor when the club closed. Then I worked in a seafood warehouse, got into real estate. Mom said work half as hard, and door knocked, cold called, and I saw people struggle in real estate. I mean, literally in tears, couldn't pay their bills, and when's my next commission to come? And I just, while I was selling real estate, I would help other agents, and then other leaders grabbed me and said, "Hey, you'd be a good manager."
Hello, everyone. Sergio Tiffer here, and welcome back to the Cracking the Code, a podcast where we dive into real strategies that move the needle in your business. Today, I'm absolutely honored to be joined by the one and the most influential voices in real estate leadership and performance coaching. Jon Cheplak is a legendary coach and a speaker known for his no-fluff, accountability-driven approach. How you doing, brother? It's been a hot minute. You're looking good.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm just at the recording of this. I'm at the, just a few minutes away from hanging out on my farm for the weekend, man. Which is my favorite thing to do.
You have a farm? I didn't know that.
We do. We've got a smaller one, about 12 and a half acres. It's closer to our primary home. And then we've got a 375 acre ranch about an hour away that has zip lines and skeet shooting and bass fishing and all kinds of stuff. So that's what I love to do in my free time, man.
Do you like? Do you guys like horses and stuff like that, or no?
We do. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we've got 8 horses. 8 horses, 2 goats, and a dog. But we're gonna get some more horses too. So yeah, we love. My wife was born and raised around horses, so it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a horse lover as well. I have 9 right now.
You do?
12. Yeah, I do have 9 horses.
No way! How cool!
Yeah, I have Spanish horses, but I use them for shows and competition. So I travel around the world with them for shows and whatnot. Yeah, it's a very expensive hobby, but I love it. We go to Spain. Awesome. We're gonna Spain in November. We go to Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico. I take them everywhere, and that's my hobby.
We'll have to catch up on that one because we could talk horses forever, man. My wife was not born. She was a barrel racer growing up, and then just took some time away from horses, and then about 13 months ago, we got a farm and got horses. So yeah, we're ready to go, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll catch up on that. So I wanted to introduce to our audience who you are. Everyone knows who you are. I mean, you're the man. You're Jon Cheplak. You're the man, right? But I don't know if a lot of people knows how you started in this world and why you decided to be a leader for leaders, because that's who you are. And something that I respect about you, because you're very, you're a straight shooter. You say things how they are, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and how you ended up being a leader for leaders, if that makes sense?
Sure, I'll go all the way back. I mean, real quick. I was a bouncer in a teen nightclub, and I think this is important too, because so many people who aspire to be leaders or are leaders and question themselves and think I don't have this or I don't have that. I think I'll prove you wrong when you hear my story, but I was a bouncer in a teen nightclub and a janitor when the club closed. Then I worked in a seafood warehouse, got into real estate. Mom said work half as hard, and door knocked, cold called, and I saw people struggle in real estate. I mean, literally in tears, couldn't pay their bills, and when's my next commission to come? And I just, while I was selling real estate, I would help other agents, and then other leaders grabbed me and said, "Hey, you'd be a good manager." And so I got into management with no management skills whatsoever. I thought you just showed people how to do things, and since you had a track record, they'll just do it. They'll just automatically do it. I was wrong, man. But anyways, so but I evolved in it, and I figured out real quickly that that recruiting, I mean, that you can't make people productive, and that people choose, and certainly you can train people and you can hold people accountable, but they're going to choose. But I really came to understand that it's really the human resource, human behavior game. And I was fortunate to have a mentor early on in my career that pointed it out to me. And so I went from branch manager to managing an office. I mean, God, I'm old when I say this. In 1998, I managed a real estate office that closed 1,483 transactions in one office in 98.
Oh, wow. I mean, back in those days, right now you get quite a few of those, but I'm assuming back in those days, like almost zero, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
non-existent.
yeah. It wasn't normal. So, and then I became, and again, I'm a product though. I think the thing is, as I share my story, any advances that people may hear about my career is know that I was a lifelong learner. I was humble. I always sought out education and information. I always compared myself to other people healthily. What I mean by that is I wanted to I wanted to compare myself to people that were above me because it inspired me. It made me think what was possible, but I was humble enough to go and ask them, not only just how did you do it, but what did you overcome? And that's a key factor. A lot of people think there's some trick, but everyone has to overcome something. And so my last job I got recruited to, I had 100 offices in 3 states and 5,000 agents. And I was only, 31 years old at that point in time. But again,
Wow.
and yeah, and again, I want people to see, because they had recognized what I did in that branch office. The only reason, though, is there's two reasons. A, my willingness and desire, but B, great leaders that were generous and didn't just tell me to do things. They shared with me the reason we were doing it and how to do it, and really developed me. And I think unconsciously from that point in time, it certainly you have to have a passion for leadership to do that. But then I got great results in that, and then one day decided back in 2002, heck, I'm going to go be a coach. And partly it was kind of funny. He was a legacy consultant for that large company, and I remember he came in one day. Hey, I'm just going to ride around and hang out with you. And I said, okay, I just want to see what you're doing. No one's ever done anything like what you're doing. And I'm like, you're a big line item on the P&L.
Right.
And my mom always taught me, don't count someone else's money. But I'm like, you're a big line item on the P&L, and you're asking me how I'm doing my job? Maybe I need to go out and do this thing. And so from there, I got into the coaching thing, and I made naturally, I think that seeing people struggle and then helping people naturally, not even having a role, and then stepping into it, getting the satisfaction of really truly directly helping people and getting a result, I think really inspired me then to just go out and help other leaders. But I chose in our industry, as you know, I chose the smallest percentile. I chose the highest performers. There's probably, if
Yes.
you look at my client base, less than 1%. And so that's going to create a longer road and versus going out to every single agent. So I just, I stuck with it. I marketed. And today I think, and again, I appreciate your kind words that I do documented work with the highest performing teams, CEOs in the real estate industry. And wake up nervous every single day because when I look at who I'm talking to, I'm like, wow, I got to help
Yeah.
them.
Right. I know
Yeah.
you were talking to, I think you were talking to Dean Crosossi the other day, and you were talking to
Yes.
Tony Robbins. And these are like the guys in the industry, and everyone looks up to them. And that you're now having direct negotiations and conversations. It's crazy, right? Because you wake up one day, it's like, when did I do it? Right. It's like, am I living a dream? So I'm sure, and I've seen it as well, because I have a lot of your clients are my friends, and they are within and their behavior is so much different from other real estate leaders. It's like, you can instantly know that person's being coached by Jon Cheplak, right? Like their words, the stuff they put out there on Facebook, their energies, like you have a very particular way of coaching, and it kind of gets into their souls. And it's almost visible, like Jon Cheplak is there somewhere somehow, right?
Yeah.
There's a client of yours in Virginia. Her name is Kelly, and she puts stuff every day on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and you're like, all right, instantly, and I go, Kelly, it's just 100% coaching with Jon. Like I know that's Jon's style, 100%. So I know you put a lot of efforts into ensuring that your clients understand health and fitness and personality and leadership. Like, what is it that you put so much emphasis on that. That is, this is not, I mean, I know that now fitness and all this stuff is like a trend and everyone wants to be fit and whatnot, but like you really do put effort into understanding and for them to understand, okay, you have to be fit, you have to be healthy, you have to be emotionally balanced, you have to be strong. Why is that?
That's a really great question. I mean, people will, observe that, but I like you go deeper because it causes me to think, and it hits me right away. It's twofold. And I don't know if you're ever this way, but I think a lot of times early on in my career, I would hear things and learn things so I could just, have it pass through me because it sounded good. That was my immaturity in my career, just trying to prove myself. But one of the things that a mentor of mine said to me, he said, everything going on privately will show up publicly.
Right.
And he'd always said that. But I think where it really kicked in for me, and I love answering this because it's never been asked this way. It really kicked in for me when I had already established my resume, if you will, as a leader and had
Right.
gotten into the coaching business. I mean, I'm not going to go back and drive another company or recruit more agents. I'm just going to transfer my knowledge. And I had done good, but I wasn't at the level of what I call where I'm at today, excellence. And I got sober.
I know you've been
Then I
sober for a
had,
long time.
yeah, it'll be 17 years, July 21. But what was interesting is prior to that, it was sheer force and tenacity, but there was always that piece missing. So, I think part of it was putting one and one together. And this isn't a commentary about getting sober, quitting drinking. I was talking to Dean, and the reason I'm in with Dean a lot is he's my mentor. I'm in a mastermind. I'm investing more in coaching today in a year than I did back when I was on the come up.
Right.
That group that I'm in, but it was recognizing that the dramatic difference, if you look at who really does well. I mean, you look at Chris Weaver. There's a great example right there. Chris is, I mean, he's a super sharp guy, super smart. That guy could get away on his brains and his talent. Well, guess what? The guy is in the gym. The guy is disciplined. He's not about riffraff. There's an example of it. But it was when I got that part of my life right, I changed nothing else. Nothing else. I had already had the knowledge, and certainly we're always growing. The dramatic change that it made for my life. So from there, it was that awakening, that epiphany. And then I think what kind of happened though too, maybe there's a third part to it, is people kind of put two and two together and go, okay, this guy works out. You can see he works out, takes care of himself. He's very transparent about not drinking, and his business is growing. He's around other people whose business are
Right.
growing. Maybe that's the way. So I think it happened by, and as we know this, I mean, you can tell someone to do it, you can teach them how, or you can demonstrate. So that's how how it really happened to me. Part of it was I was told it, hey, all their personal stuff's going to show up. But then just through my own self-discovery, I saw what it did for me, saw what it started doing for other people. So it was like, this is the way. This is the way. And
Right.
like
Do,
you said,
do,
you look
do
at
you think
Chris.
that? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a beast. I mean, he's always grinding and he's always in the gym, and he's 40 plus, and he
I looked at
sounds,
that guy's
looks, and
skin on
feels
a
like he's
video. I
yeah.
looked at his skin on a video today, and I said, "Man, he looks pretty." Chris is going to watch this. He's going to say your tail. No, but I mean, it's like he looks good. He's healthy, man. You can see it. So, but anyways, I apologize.
No, absolutely. So, do you think that two leaders that are or have the same capacity, but one is emotionally balanced and fitness is on point versus another one that does not? Do you think that the one that does always is going to outperform the one that doesn't?
Dramatically, because that's what I didn't touch on as much as the emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. That's the next part. I think you take a look at myself and my business, at Chris and his peers and your client base that you guys work with. I mean, you guys certainly you serve all walks, but you've got enterprise businesses, team
Yes, we
leaders,
do.
broker owners that come to you that are the highest level and say, okay, we need you to fill these gaps in here and provide staffing, et cetera. And you see this too. The emotional mature, the difference between, because you get to see all walks. The ones that you'll see, wow, they're still over here. Great person, really, really great person. They've got a good business, but why aren't they blowing up? Versus you'll see this one, same and equal, but their emotional maturity. They take personal responsibility. They are constantly, it gets to this point where you got two people. It's the one who does personal development continually, and the one who doesn't. I mean, that's the game changer right there. You can tell the person that, they get caught up in anger. They're scarce minded. They're worried more about the competition than their own schedule. They're worried what they react versus respond. So the emotional maturity, you certainly got to take care of your physical fitness, your mental fitness, but that emotional part of it is every time that's the differentiator, man.
Absolutely. And I remember one phrase that you said one time is you don't recruit agents, you attract them. It's pivoting a little bit here on our conversation, but part of that is if you don't have your stuff in point, how are you going to attract other, high performing agents to say, okay, I want to be like John. I want to be like Chris. I want to be like Kelly. Because I think that people admire, and when they admire someone, they want to recreate and want to copy what they're doing and want to live that same lifestyle and say, hey, I want to have that, right? But if they see a leader that is drinking every weekend and comes with smell on Monday, it's like, I don't know, right? But they might have a good business, like you said, but you're probably not going to attract very high quality agents to come and work with you, right?
Absolutely not.
And what do you think they get the recruitment wrong most of the time? Because I see that 3 agents come in, 2 go out, 4 come in, 5 go out. It's like it's a constant battle of recruitment with agents. They don't attract them. They offered them perks and come here, we're going to give you this and that, and then the agents come and 4, 5, 6 months later they're gone, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 parts to it. I think that we're seeing a lot more of that in the industry with the market shift, but there are those that retain at a higher level and those that don't, and it is a direct reflection of the leader, because a leader that operates in first of all, there's that magnetism, right? Who you're going to attract, and you carry yourself a certain way. You're going to be magnetic to a certain type of people. Then there's a second part though too, because there's a depth of it, and with all the staff that you have, my goodness, you can go,
Yep.
probably can go multiple steps and then get to step 7 and go, oh, wait a minute, we discovered something in your character, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so there's that magnetism that's first, but the second part is having the strength, as you do in your business and I do in mine, to stand in principle in the interview and not compromise. Okay, I know you're really skilled. You're going to be a little bit of a handful. I'm going to make a lot of money off you. You might not be here forever. So it does 2 things. It magnetizes a specific type of avatar, whether it's a customer or an agent, right? Because like working with buyers and sellers is recruiting. Recruiting real estate agents is recruiting. Bringing in staff is, we're all in the enrollment business. But the second part is when you're living that life, and neither of us are sitting here talking about perfection. We're talking about, hey, something, I'm not perfect, but I am living at a standard. I have high expectations of myself. Then you've got the strength to convey that and pick and choose who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with, whether it's a recruit or the consumer too. Same game. So
Right.
It gives you strength, massive strength.
So speaking about recruitment, do you feel that, or do you find yourself not accepting clients because you feel that they don't fit in your avatar of coachable, or they don't share your values and whatnot?
Yeah, I think that I don't, and I know that there's standards people have. I think that it depends on in different silos. Like for example, in one of our silos where we have a service, we set recruiting appointments for people. In that one, we 100%. I mean, to an extreme. Well, you must have a specific market positioning. You must have a specific amount of agents that you're trying to hire. I think for me, yes and no. Let me tell you the no. I don't think too many people, and like you had mentioned, and not to be a jerk, but I think that I speak so directly in my social media and my copy and when I speak that that does help filter out a lot of people,
Absolutely.
right? You
Yes,
know,
it does. Yes.
yeah. So it's like, you and I and Chris get in a room and just go, we're okay, great. We're not going to get, we know that, all right, we're here in principle. No one's going to get their feelings hurt. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, the highest form of integrity and love we can show one another is directness and truth and walk out and go, thanks, man. So I think that I don't have to much of the time, and just a strategy I use too. I'm very upfront about my fees before someone can. So yes, I do, but in my own way. Like for example, before I'll jump on a phone with someone, the last question on my on a lead form: will you pay, if this is a fit? Will you pay John $2,000 for a 20-minute call once a week? So so if someone's going to get through my copy, right,
Yeah.
and or see me speak, and at the end of that form say I'll invest 2,000. So yeah, I kind of do. What I will do though is, yeah, definitely, if I find it as I am working with someone, and it doesn't map, most definitely. But there's a good lesson I want to share with you. This is really cool. That a young lady approached me. She was on a real estate team. She had sold. I think this is great for anyone, and I knew this though. This principle. Hey, she filled out the form and it said, "Yep, I'll pay." But it said, tell me about your business. I'm an agent on a team that sold 60 homes last year, and so I went back to her and I said, "Hey, respectfully, there's a different coaching company I think that would be a good stepping stone. It is a great coaching company, great respect. They'd be a great coaching company." I said, "My room, you're going to be a little uncomfortable, not a fit." She was relentless. I know who's in your room. I'm going to make it happen. And was relentless. Taught me a lesson. And we know this. Doesn't matter where someone's at, it matters their commitment level. That young lady was an individual agent, built a team within 14 months. She bought $1 million building for her real estate team after coming off being on a team, opened a property management company. So I think the one thing in areas where maybe I would say no, I've opened up to one thing. What commitment level do you have? So I think it's important to point that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from time to time that's going to happen. And how much do you value culture within, I guess, within your own clients
With our organization, oh yeah, it's everything. I think over the years, there've been maybe 3 times great people, but just not a fit. There have been times where I've just basically said that this isn't a fit, and those are tough conversations to have. But yeah, there's no one of the things, especially as you get higher up, a lot of people, and I'd say this to anyone that, maybe there's someone, because listen, there's people I look up to. If I'm someone that you're like, hey, I want to grow my business as a coach or a team leader, hopefully I can be that inspiration. And if you're someone that's further than me, great too. I mean, this isn't about I'm above folks. But a lot of times we can have this misconception that the higher you go, the bigger the egos are. And you know what I'm learning? That's not. The higher you go in those rooms, because guess what? Those high performers, they will run you out. If you go you get to sit in a room with the high level performers, they will run you out. So I think that the thing to be aware of is to seek the highest level rooms, but also in the highest level rooms, know that the people that are in those rooms, typically, if someone has fostered an environment of high performers, you can almost 100% guarantee that it's a really healthy room, because otherwise you would see massive turnover. Massive.
Absolutely. And since you coach a lot of high performers, one of the themes that I have with some of my clients is high accountability versus micromanaging their people. And they confuse that a lot. Like, it's not the same. And they tend to confuse it, and they burn people out, and agents go, and even staff go. Like, I have some of my clients that I appreciate them a lot, and they still with me and say, hey, listen, this guy's not working out. And then I said, I mean, that's weird. Let me talk to the person. And then I ended up hiring the staff for myself, and they turned out to be great. And like, Jesus Christ, what happened here? Then I go back to them. It's like, hey, listen, If you want, we can send the person back to you, but they're doing great on my end. Like, are you sure? I don't know. He's not doing the stuff that he needs to do. It's like,
It's so good.
it's weird, right? Like they don't get the micromanaging versus the accountability part. And I think this is a stepping stone for them to become great leaders, right?
I think that's where the greatest opportunity is. You probably hear this a ton, because I think probably, and everyone's a little bit different, but I think there's probably a lot of people that a lot of your clients are, and I'm not picking on them. It's throughout the industry. I mean, I work with a lot of your client avatar. A lot of them think, okay, great, you give me a VA, and that VA's, and you just tell them what to do, and hey, listen, the VA's not doing what I was supposed to do. Well, what's your development look like? It's
Exactly.
I mean, hello, we've done our part, but so I think in that I think what I think many of them do is I think they fast forward to telling them what to do versus building the relationship and communicating openly and having incremental check marks along the way while developing them and before you move them onto something versus telling them. So for me, it looks like giving people space. I know some folks that I mean, it's kind of interesting. I say this at my farm, my one ranch up the road here, which we don't live at, but it's a larger property, 375 acres, and they send me an end of day report, and I told them up front, this isn't to micromanage. This is you're kind of my eyes, right? Now, in a normal business, and I know some people do in their normal business. In my normal business, I don't. I look at a body of work. And I think that a lot of times it's maybe not how often you check in with people, but the language you use when you check in also.
Yes, the language that you use, and if they have a purpose as well, or if they understand the purpose that you have in your head, because sometimes leaders, they do have a mission, they do have a purpose for their company, but they never express it, never share it with their staff, and the staff is kind of driving blindly, and the staff is trying to figure out what is it that the company wants, because at the end of the day, they are not, they don't read your mind. They have to, no. You have to discuss with them where is it that we're going, right? Like I have different companies. I have 4 companies right now. And people don't believe me that I have 4 companies. And I said, look, I talk to managers no more than an hour a week for every company. So I speak to about 12 managers in all the 4 companies an hour a week. And when they come, they know exactly what they need to tell me, how I want it. And one thing I always tell them is that, listen, I'm going to figure out the what, and you're going to figure out the how. So I'm going to tell you what we need to do, and you need to figure out how you're going to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Go and use your creativity, go use your brain and come with solutions, and we'll work it out together, right? I'm not going to pound you. I'm not going to, shoot you down because you didn't come with a solution that I like. If I didn't like the solution, let's keep talking and let's keep, moving forward. But they know exactly what is it that we're doing, right? They know the what. They just have to figure out the how.
That's really good. I got my mentor modeled that for me back in 2000. I think I was 6 months into that. No, I was a year into that job. I went from having 100 agents to like 100 offices, and something went really, really wrong in marketing. And his rule was, I never want to be surprised. And so if something goes wrong, let me know. Right. So I called him at 6 a.m. It was a Sunday, and that's back when print media was big time. The newspapers come out. And they screwed up, and all the agents were calling, and it was really great. I mean, a lot of agents weren't happy. I said, hey, I screwed up. There's a problem. And he said, oh, good. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, there's this. And he says, great. Hey, so what are you going to do about it? I go, well, that's why I'm calling you. He says, no. He says, that's why I'm hired. That's why I hired you. I'm going to go back and feed my chickens. And he hung up.
That's a good one. Yeah, but it kind of makes you're at that point, it's an epiphany, because you're like, okay, now it makes sense. I have to figure it out, right?
And it's interesting. It's some of the research I've done is people leave less because of money they leave more because they were not allowed to bring their skill set.
It's funny that you say that.
Yeah.
It's very funny you say that, because I had a situation with the client that he kept saying, "Why is my staff quitting?" And I said, "I think it's because of you. I think there's something in your leadership group that is failing." And I said, "Cannot be." And I said, "Look, listen, I have I have over 200 employees, and people that work for me directly, I have about 35 people that respond to me directly or indirectly. And I would say 70% of them make less money than your guys, and they be with me for longer. I'm just going to ask you, what do you think that is?" And he couldn't answer, right? He was like, "Well, I don't know." I was like, "Well, I think you should start thinking about that, because if you're telling me that your people is quitting because of money, and I'm telling you that I have people that make a lot less money than your guys, then there's something broken in between, right?" I think till this day, he hasn't figured it out. He's no longer a client, but that that happens a lot, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's interesting. People are in their own way. I mean, I think the thing, it's like I'll tell a lot of clients, "Gosh, it costs that much to work with you." Yeah, and here's what's even worse: you're probably the problem.
I guess if you're pointing at, you have three fingers pointing at you, right? That's your problem. What did I do to cause this as a leader?
So
Where,
good. That right. That's the emotional maturity. That's the emotional, like ruthless personal responsibility. Going into meetings with, I'll tell leaders, when you go into a meeting when someone's not performing, first thing to do is come from curiosity and responsibility. When I go into a meeting and someone's not performing, I don't want to check in with them. "Hey, how do you feel that we're doing here versus where we wanted to be?" And the first thing is to make sure they're on the same page, because that's my responsibility. And if I was clear on it and they're not, then okay, then that's another issue. But if I know I've been crystal clear, "Well, I want to be here." Great. Okay, and where are we at? "Well, we're here." All right, great. First thing I'll always say to them: "Here's what I want you to know. There's two participants, because I can delegate authority, but I can't delegate responsibility, because I'm the leader."
yes, you got it. You put the nail in the coffin. That's absolutely
Right.
right.
So what I always like to do to kind of disarm the situation and open them up is say, if you were me, what would you have done differently? Did I communicate it clearly? Did I support you well enough? "No, no, you were good. I did this." Because then if we can, that's that emotional maturity of being able to sit in self-discovery with someone, and curiosity versus judgment. Because if I can get them to self-discover, what's going to happen? It's going to create a higher level of safety and transparency, and move to the solution. So, but a lot of leaders,
Hmm.
they're still in that old school. "I'm the boss. I tell you what to do, and when you don't do it, you're in trouble." That don't work.
Yes, that'll work. Now let's get a little bit into my territory, virtual assistants, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about virtual assistants? Do you think they can help real estate leaders and pros? And because I know a lot of real estate pros, they're afraid of virtual assistants. They're in another country. I'm sorry. And how do I manage them? I don't even know how to manage people in my own office. I'm going to manage someone that is in another country. But I know that if you do it correctly, it can help you scale your business drastically, right? Because you help your bottom line quite a bit when you have staff that it's a third of the cost or half the cost, right?
I don't know a high performer that does not have a virtual assistant, period. And I'll take it to a whole other level too. And this isn't about the "I am wonderful." It's just from a perspective. I've got multiple businesses myself that aren't just, and like you,
Mhm.
they're not just LLCs we opened up to say, "Hey, I've got a business." And I have not and so this is on but off a little bit, but it's bang on topic. I have multiple businesses in multiple verticals in this industry, and I have not sat in the same office of anyone on my staff since the day I started my business. 23 years. So watch this. I have a virtual COO.
Yes.
I have a
There you
virtual.
go. I wanted to get to that. It's like, why do we have to think that virtual assistants are only for data entry or
I have a
entry
virtual.
jobs?
I
Right.
have virtual COO. I have virtual sales
There you
people.
go.
I have virtual marketing. I mean, my people. 100%. My number one person who, and I'm down in Louisiana, and she's been with me 16 years, and she lives in Washington State. I see her once or twice a year. I see her,
Right.
and she handles all my money, all my accounts, I mean, unreal. And then my other guy, he's over in, and so I think the thing, whether it's stateside or overseas.
Yeah, because a lot of people think of virtual assistants are Philippines. No, virtual assistants could be someone in Washington, could be someone in Georgia, could be someone in South Carolina, it could be someone anywhere. As long as if they're somewhere else, they're virtual. And if you're in California, you have to pay $150,000 a year, and you can hire someone in Georgia for half the cost. That's virtual, and you're doing labor arbitrage at that point, right? But you're helping your bottom
Uh,
line, right?
yeah, yeah, and I think that and again, I'm a straight shooter, so I don't come on to just because I'm sitting here. You've got to. I think the key piece is whether it's internally, operationally, going externally with an organization like yours. Um, what what is significant, and it's very parallel to me in coaching. I've done what I coach my people to do. You guys are operators here. You've got, you and Chris in the real estate industry and investment and flipping and
Yeah,
then
we're everywhere.
operating the business. You guys are you guys are operating and living the service that you're delivering to
Yes.
people. And so I think the thing where I think it's valid, I think it's very valid for people to have a concern with virtual assistants is the same way it's valid for any type of service or product that is delivered by an opportunist
Right.
who sees a gap versus an operator who has used it, is using it, and has proof of concept in their business. So
Yes.
basically, you're modeling what you are and have a trajectory and have success in your business, the service and the product that you're putting out there. It's a game changer. It's a differentiator. I think there's a couple parts to it for me. Yeah, 100%. B, I think where people can, and it's just how our industry is, unfortunately, so many fly by nights in that space that don't do it well. So I think it's their discernment and getting with
Yes.
professional group of folks. But I think the third piece and where there's afraid, it comes down to this one. It's the mirror. It's a lack of their development in the ability to, because my opinion, you're the expert in this. This is your guys' field, but I think it's the inability to communicate clearly with people.
It's most of the times that's what it is because they don't create the right expectation. Like I said, uh, they don't share their purpose, their mission, and they don't have clear KPIs. I mean, as simple as not having clear KPIs. Like, okay, so every week you're responsible for doing 50 calls a day, just for the sake of this conversation.
Sure, sure.
And if at the end of the week you come and say, okay, I did 40 Monday, 40 Tuesday, 30 Wednesday. Okay, why? Right? You're gonna have to really show me why you did 40 calls, right? But they operate on emergencies, like, we have a new listing. All right, let's put it on the market. And then this other stuff come in and you're putting fires all the time and you're just operating on a kind of ad hoc mode
Reactionary.
where, as right, reactionary as it comes. And then of course, there's not a sense of anything in an
No.
organization like that, right? Or that I've seen this a lot is that I don't know why, but real estate agents like to take a lot of time off and they and they leave their guys alone for like 2-3 weeks every 3 or 4 months. It's like, Jesus Christ, like you guys are trillionaires. I don't know how you guys take so much time off, right?
I don't know. I don't get it, man. It's wild.
Yeah,
It
you see
is
them in
wild.
Italy, then they're in Mexico, and I'm like, wow. And then, I mean, one thing is if your business is doing great, and you have a very
Well,
well-oiled
there's
machine.
earning that. I always told people early in my real estate career, I earned my weekends, right?
Yes.
But these people, it's like, I'm in real estate. I earned all kinds of time off. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, and they haven't reached their prime, and they're taking so much time off. It's like, okay, cool. You have to take time off. You have to work your stress. I get it, but I think there has to be a limit to the time off that they take. And that was gonna lead me to my next questions to you. Like, what are some of your non-negotiables in business? Like, what is some of the stuff that you say, no, I will never do this, or that you try also to teach to your clients, if that makes sense? I know one is fitness, but is there anything else?
Sure. Yeah, I think the most important thing, a non-negotiable that I coach is you must be a marketer, period. I don't care what type of business you're in. If you're not a marketer, what are you going to do? I mean, and it's, my wife and I look at other businesses, roofing businesses and HVAC businesses to be involved in, invest in, and actually help operationally. We're looking at those type of things. And I said, you want to know why it's really, really easy? And she goes, why? I mean, my opinion is because they're terrible marketers. People just aren't good marketers. So number one is you have to be a marketer. Number two, you have to be willing to do or have done and model anything that you ask other people to do, period. Number three, that what your number one daily core fundamental outside of marketing. Marketing is just an expected thing. That that single most important activity, needle mover that you must do every day, and it's your oxygen. You treat it like oxygen. That's it. Like really, really simple. Because here's what you and I know. With all the staffing that you do with multiple teams, we know the number one problem these teams have. Their agents don't have enough 2-minute conversations a day and a discussion.
Yes.
That's it. They do not. That's it. And watch this. And the mistake, as you ask that question, what are my non-negotiables? So know what yours is. Like a team leader, I would say, 2 minimum. I mean, there's some that are more, you've got clients and I got clients that are recruiting 20, 30, 40, 50 people in a month. Well, they need more appointments a day. But saying to a team leader, you don't go home until you have 2 recruiting interviews. I don't care who gets them, but 2 recruiting interviews scheduled. Because here's what we know. Tell me what typical sized, good sized, because there's a lot of people that say I'm a team. They've got one VA and they're a team, right? They're a big team. But you tell me what team out there that at least schedules 2 recruiting interviews, and they could, for lack of better words, they could practically screw up everything else. Okay. What team would lose that has a total of 40 recruiting interviews set up a month? They're not going to, because they're going to get it captured. They're going to discern. Now agents are going to get busy, and as long as they're a smart human being that goes, okay, I've got other messes I've got to clean up, but here's the flip side of it. If they don't do that, nothing else matters. Like the people like there's twofold. I would bet in your business, the people that don't stay with you, most of the cases that are on the come up, they didn't recruit. I would guarantee. They made that commitment. You were the next natural step for them that they needed to take. Okay.
Right.
And staffing in a very cost-effective way and doing the work. And they just thought that would make sales happen. Oh, well, you've got to did you recruit today? Did you keep bringing more staff on so you can support that so we can do more, right? So it's either those or it's the ones that never get to you because they never recruited. Yeah. But if you look at the people with longevity, I will guarantee your clients with longevity, they're recruiting, right?
They're recruiting a lot.
Yeah. What's your one? What is your? I say this to people. You're trying to sell houses. That's eating, but you're not. But you can survive without food for 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. but you can't survive without oxygen for a minute and 30 seconds, and you're not even breathing. So how can you eat when you don't breathe? You've got to either have recruiting interviews. What's the one thing if you go to bed at night that you don't do, you have anxiety? That's
Right.
simple.
Magic. John, are you working on any new projects right now?
We are. I'd say it's new because we did the official launch of it. It's our we call it We Recruit for You. So we had watched we've got mortgage and
Yeah. So you have you're in a mortgage business now.
yeah,
So congratulations. I like that business.
yeah, we've got that, and then we've got our search. It was kind of cool. We just surpassed. I just looked at visibility based on search terms we look at. We just surpassed homes.com just behind Redfin. We've got our
Wow.
national lead portal, Easy Home Search. So we've got the national MLS feed. We do lead generation different than most. We sell exclusive per county, and so we provide leads to agents. But the one that and I'm excited about them all, but the one that we just launched Saturday was We Recruit for You. So we actually use our framework, our language, and we are putting recruiting appointments into the calendar of team leaders.
Of team leaders. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
team
very
leaders.
smart business.
Yeah, team leaders provide us a list of, and that's cool thing too, because there's a lot of people that provide similar services like that where they'll dial for them and great respect.
Well, they don't have your name. They don't have Jon Cheplak behind, right? That's a game changer.
So yeah, we're really excited about that because it's
Awesome.
you and I both know recruiting's the highest ROI activity for a team leader, and it's the hardest. That which gives us the most is the hardest. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any final takeaways for our audience that you want to give before we wrap it up?
Sure. What I would say, and that's what's neat. I'm in what you saw there. I'm in a mastermind with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. There's only 23 of us in there. It's and super, super high level folks. Not me. I'm the lowest guy in there, but I got invited into it, and everyone had to be invited and spent $250,000 for 1 year to be in it. And,
Wow.
and why do I do it? To grow and to be smarter in the proximity and to be challenged. I mean, you don't even need to be held accountable in that room because there's implied accountability. You think you're going to come in that room and not do your thing, but here's what I want to pass on. It's the reason that I do it. We are in the since 07, 08, and this is coming from. I mean, Russell Brunson sat at my table, and him and I am doing breakouts. And listen, I'm a fanboy of people that are a lot smarter than me. But the whole theme is we're in the lowest level of certainty right now than we've been in, the consumer and just humans as a whole since 07, 08, which is exciting because for the bold, that will be the information portal that will market to people properly and consistently with educational, informational content. Your competition's going to quit. They're going to go do something else. They're not going to stay consistent. So I just really want to encourage people that these are, I know it's cliche, but this is the most opportune time right now. Know that it may feel like a sowing season for a lot of people. That's okay because a lot of people won't sow. They just want to reap. So really know that be the certainty and help people smash their false beliefs, whether it's the agents you're leading or it's the buyers and sellers, the consumers you're working with. And I'll tell you, in 18 to 24 months, if we thought 2021 was a great opportunity for growth, you have no idea the opportunity for growth in this market because few will do what it takes.
Absolutely. I appreciate you spending time with me today. And I'll see you soon in Lake Tahoe.
Can't wait, man. I'm excited for you guys to be there. Yeah.
I'm also very excited. We're going to do a very nice presentation for your agents. I'm very excited to be in that room with so many leaders and so many high performers. I'm really looking forward to it. Well, thank you for your time, John.
I appreciate you, man. All right. Talk to you later. All right.
Thank you for joining us today on this new episode of Cracking the Code. If this conversation leads a fire under you, do us a favor, follow, like, share, and drop a comment. Your support helps us continue the development of this conversation and connect with the best minds in the business. Until next time, keep leading boldly, keep showing up, and keep cracking the code.